if none of those three, what do you think truth is? It's a age-old question, and hopefully you've thought about it before, but we'll get into the details. Okay, so as I mentioned, there have been three primary theories of truth that line up with the 3 points that we just had on the previous slide that are covered in this article. There's others, but we'll focus on 3 of them. The pragmatic theory of truth. So the pragmatic theory says that our beliefs are true when they work. That is, when they get us what we want. So that might sound a little oversimplified, but a lot of people seem to have the idea that, well, what's true is what works, right? So if it works, if it gives us something that gets us results, that's all we mean by true. So that's one approach that we'll talk about. Another approach is called coherence theory. And the coherence theory says that a belief is true when it fits with our other beliefs and meanings. In other words, when a belief coheres with the other pieces of knowledge that we have. And the third one, which I think it's safe to say has been the most widely shared and intuitive view of truth, is what's called the correspondence theory. So the correspondence theory of truth says that a belief is true when it corresponds with what is out there in the real world, right? That there is an external world, an objective reality. So if I say that it's true that Earth is the third planet from the sun, well, it corresponds with the nature of the external solar system, right? Of which we're a part, but there's actually a planet that's external to just me called Earth that is really the third planet from our sun's, our solar system's star, right? So correspondence theory, very plausible. A lot of people like it, but hopefully you see here, these 3 theories are quite different. So if your first inclination is to say, oh, well, they're all true, well, that can't be right because these 3 theories are not consistent. There might be some overlap, but it's important to notice that they say fundamentally different things. So we'll see by the end whether any of these views appeal to you. Okay, there's additional theories of truth that have become increasingly popular, especially even recently. And I think relativism is certainly at the top of that list. Relativism has a long history, but I mean, not to be too anecdotal here, but I've certainly noticed the rise of people who are relativists, especially in, I would say, the last 10 years. And if you're a relativist, you think all truth is relative. Whether a statement is true just depends on who makes the statement. So it might be that what's true for you isn't true for me, right? Things like that. One thing we should point out, though, is that sometimes the word truth is used quite loosely, okay? Because sometimes people use truth to describe their belief or opinion, right? So if I said Thai food is my favorite food, and then you said Italian food is my favorite, well, what's true for me isn't true for you. Then it seems like we're using truth the same way that we're using the word opinion or belief, right? Because as we talked about last week, beliefs aren't knowledge necessarily, right? So we have to be clear about the language that we're using. But suffice it to say, relativism has become, I think, a very popular view, especially with the rise of alternative news sources and how people see the world pretty differently, right? So even taking scientific knowledge as an example, if I said it's true that hydrogen has 1 proton, and somebody else said, well, that's not true for me. Hydrogen has 7 protons. A lot of people think, well, one person is no more right than the other. A lot of other people, though, myself included, are inclined to say, well, that just can't be right. I mean, are we really talking about 2 different realities? Relativism, while potentially well-intentioned, doesn't seem to capture the shared sense of human experience. I mean, yes, there are disagreements about which food is better and which bands are better, but relativism is making a stronger claim. I want it to be clear from the onset. I mean, relativism is the view that if you're having a conversation with somebody who thinks that the earth is flat and you say, no, it's round, if relativism is true, then you're both right. And that just doesn't seem to capture our intuition about that experience, right? I think most of us want to say, no, the person who says that the earth is flat, they're just wrong, right? They can believe that the earth is flat, but it's not flat. So it can't be true. They might think it's true, but they're just mistaken, right? So a lot of us, I think, have the intuition that knowledge and truth capture more than just people's opinions and beliefs, right? People have beliefs and opinions that are wrong or mistaken, and that's okay, right? We're humans. But if you're a relativist, which is fine, no judgment, you're going to have to answer for some cases like that where, how could they both be right? I mean, it seems like quite clearly and intuitively that one person's wrong, right? If they or take math, maybe that's a better example. If somebody says 2 + 2 = 5, and they say, well, that's true for me, and you say, no, 2 + 2 = 4, if relativism is true, then you're both right. I mean, and that just seems really counterintuitive to a lot of people, myself included. So relativism, though, is certainly a common view, and a lot of people like it. It is related to something that's mentioned in the reading, which is called postmodernism. Postmodernist views of truth have certainly become influential, I would say, in the last 100 years or so, maybe a little bit longer than that.